Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
My personality has many feminine features. I am agreeable, compassionate/polite, and have rather high levels of negative emotion, leading me, for example, to cry too easily. This did not at all mean that I was born in the wrong body, whatever that means, or that I was really a woman.
Are you happy?
I'm Jordan
We asked
Peterson.
that question with good intentions. Are you happy?
First, there have been many conflicting definitions of mental health put forward by philosophers, physicians, and psychologists over the years. Freud believed that love and work were the cornerstones of our humanness. Abraham Maslow spoke of the self-actualized person. Carl Jung believed that the human psyche was geared towards some idealized, heroic end. Here's mine. Mental health is the desire to work for the betterment of being. Life is difficult. Uncertainty, suffering, and disappointment are everywhere. The healthy mind must avoid the twin dangers of resentment and arrogance.
True mental health is to be found in the pursuit of a life
Profound and satisfying enough to justify the inevitable suffering that's part and parcel of the human condition.
What's a better question for me to ask Jordan Peterson?
How are you doing?
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Jordan Peterson just checked himself in rehab.
How are you doing?
I had this friend. Yeah. Sorry.
That's
Very interested in the viability of nihilistic beliefs. You know, why bother if everything's going to disappear in 100 years? You know, who cares? Life, you know, it's meaningless. And I thought, are there any antidotes to meaninglessness? And rational antidotes are hard to come by because you can just say, well, who cares if in 1,000 years we're all going to be dead? Why get out of bed in the morning?
It's a question that cuts close to the bone.
Now, I thought about music.
You know, when you listen to a profound piece of music,
Music is a very strange art form. I had a great journalist friend of mine. He said to me the other day, he said, all art aspires to the condition of music, which I thought was great. Music. You think about the revitalizing effect music continues to have in our culture, especially among young people. In the days of the degenerated postmodern and Marxist ethos, we got more nihilistic and less religious and all of that as our culture became more secular and more rational, more materialistic. And at the same time, the power of music as a cultural phenomenon just grew and grew and grew and grew. So music gives you the intimation of meaning. I used to watch punk rockers. I went to a Ramones concert once, which was really fun. We were up in the second floor of this theater in Montreal, and the Ramones were playing on stage like 100 feet away with their huge stadium equipment. It was so loud in there. Like I had to listen to the whole concert with my ears plugged, and I'm still like 3/4 deaf for 3 days. And beneath us, on that stage, sort of, in front of the stage, there was a flat place, and all these punks were down there smashing into each other and doing this really rough dance. And I thought, this is so cool. All these nihilistic punks in here, like half beating themselves up, dancing, and being taken in by this rough music that gave them, even in their aggressive nihilism, a sense of meaning. I thought that was so cool. So cool.
The best place to find Satan is within. There's a place where we can go to religion. So let's think about what music is. It's a pattern. So it's multiple patterns layered on top of one another in a harmonious manner. And so, what's the world? Well, the world's made of objects. No, it's not. It's made of patterns. So music is an analog of the structure of existence itself. Patterns. And so what do you do when you hear that, especially if it's got a beat? Well, then you move your body. The music calls to you to move your body. Cool.
So now you're moving your body in sync with the patterned layers of the world. And so then you bring your body into this patterned relationship with this multi-layer harmony in a spontaneous way, indicating that you can play and are therefore potentially trustworthy future mate. That's unbelievably cool. You know, that's meaning. And then music does something else to it. It puts you on the border between chaos and order. It puts you right on the edge. That's the zone of salvation. Oh man, I went to this bar in Nashville, and this band was playing country music with a heavy blues rock twist. This brilliant guitarist just goes way out on a limb, and he's like dancing on the edge of chaos and order in this virtuosic manner. And everyone is so taken by that it just lifts them out of the normality of their existence. You know, you see this joy just transfuse them. To observe the harmonious interplay of the patterns on top of one another, and then to bring yourself into alignment with that. It puts you directly in touch with the meaning that sustains you in life. And that's real. It's real, that meaning. I'm sure it happens to you at your comedy shows. Comedians, they're like musicians. Yeah, they're right on the border between order and chaos. Right? You think, oh, do I have to say this? Do I have to say this? Like, yeah, you have to say this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say it.
He looks like he's like inmate 1, the unexpected COVID-19 release.
And everyone cracks up. And it's so cool. Anybody who goes after a comedian, it's like, oh yeah, I know who you are. You're the king who can't stand the fool. That's the tyrant.
Put your fucking phones away.
Comedy.
I see phones.
It's the antidote to their totalitarianism.
I see a lot of your phones out.
A few days ago, I penned an irritated tweet. I've essentially been banned from Twitter as a consequence. Twitter. The suspension will not be lifted unless I delete the hateful tweet in question, and I would rather die than do that. Hopefully it will not come to that, although who the hell knows in these increasingly strange days.
That's awful in the most fundamental sense, but that's meaning, you know, and that's better than happiness.
If we can't live in peace, let us die in peace. Death is not a fearful thing. It's living is treachery.
And you need an antidote to suffering, and it's not a trivial thing.
My opinion is that we take the portion like they used to take in ancient Greece and step over quietly. And I like to choose my own kind of death for a change. I'm tired of being tormented to hell. That's what I'm tired of.
Remember when pride was a sin? That's actually a big problem in and of itself, and also indicative of the utter carelessness of the Twitter organization with regard to the propriety of its own sensorial actions. And so it was impossible to communicate to my audience.
They're my people. And they've been provoked too much. What's happened here has been it's been an act of provocation.
Look, I was having a rough time. I'm really happy that I've been encountering what you've been talking about. I've really been trying to put things together, and it's really helping.
I'm the best friend you'll ever have.
I am required to acknowledge that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. No, what rules, you sons of bitches? Die. It still might be regarded as unacceptable to the woke authoritarian moralists who now insist, for example, that we celebrate Pride Month. Pride Month. I must say that I've had some post-coital regret. I don't see that sexual desire of any sort is something to celebrate.
I've never seen people take the law in their own hands and provoke us.
It is clearly the case that the surgical operation performed by the butchers who butchered Elliot is legal.
For children that are left, we're going to have them butchered.
Yes. Yes.
I'm the best friend you'll ever have.
If they were female breasts, if he or she was a he, when she or he or they, his, her, them, their, she or he or they, his, her.
It's not worth living like this. Take the push and
do it.
It's been done by every tribe in history. Every tribe facing annihilation.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
How very much I've loved you.
Is 100 million corpses enough?
How very much I've tried to my best to give you a good life.
Thank you. Thank you.
meaning.
It's better than happiness, but it's almost unbearable.
Life has no meaning.
It's nothing.
Seriously. Everybody dies. Someplace that hope runs out.
Wherever I go in the world, people come up to me and they're usually, I wouldn't say they're happy to see me. They're often in tears.
David, I need help.
I hope that you find the help that you need.
I want to know him better.
I wouldn't change that, but it's not nothing. It's certainly not just happiness. It's better than happiness, but it's almost unbearable.
You're concerned about the losing of your sight. Things just blur to you. You have to stumble around, not able to see even people's faces close up to you.
God, tears again.
I hope that you find the help that you need.
Sacrificing your intellect. It's a decision, no?
Fallen prey to the most subtle temptation of the ancient demonic spirit, driven into the towers of Babel constructed by the avatars of the resentful intellect. The satanic impulse within is the prime enemy. We know what the next step is.
We take the push and
That's your holy duty. What else do you have? Do it. All my sacrifices went unrewarded.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Yeah.
I want a medium iced cap and a chocolate chunk. I'm very, very serious. I don't put up with bullshit.
Yeah, that's what it is at the bottom of the hell of things. Yeah.
I want to end this session with asking that you, as an observer of these tapes, I want to suggest, if you want to, that you go and find a private spot and reach as high as you can reach and say, what direction should I take? I don't want to be misled. I don't want to be led away from you. I want to find my God. It's safer looking for your Heavenly Father than it is to look for truth, even though they're the same thing. So our hope and our prayer for your sake is you will start warding off all the bombardment that you will begin to hear that say, boy, is this guy crazy? Is this a cult if I ever heard one? Yes, it is. It's a cult. I mean, it's the cult of cults. It's the cult of truth. And I see that we're down to 5 seconds. We'll see you in our next session.